We the people, we the people, we the people, we the people.
United States of America.
Hi, this is Kim from Warwick, and you can find me at myspace.com/New England Promoter. And I'd like to talk about the whitewashing of the American media. And the way that there's so few subsidiary and holding companies that control so much of the media that we see on a daily basis. Just this week, Coast 93.3, which is a popular media station, just went to all nationalized broadcasts. There's no local information anymore on that. And I fear that that's a trend for the nation. It's going to be less and less independent media outlets. And on that front, I'd like to talk about Representative Dennis Kucinich, who proposed his 35 articles for impeachment that was on this Friday on C-SPAN. They had a big trial of sorts in front of a judiciary committee about impeaching George W. Bush. And unfortunately, the media all but ignored this. Up until the day that it actually happened, it was pretty much whitewashed. Nobody really talked about it. It was pretty much ignored, and that's a sad statement today when impeachment trials for a president doesn't even make the headlines, when it's more important to talk about this celebrity's baby or who's marrying who or all this bullshit. And it's like, we need to get our priorities straight in America. What is important for us to learn? What is important for our children to learn? Is it more important for us to know about who's dating who or about the state of affairs and with the president? I just think it's ridiculous. So Google Dennis Kucinich and please support his 35 articles of impeachment. Thank you.
United States of America.
Okay, so basically what happened is they had two different panels that came on C-SPAN, and I listened to a bunch of it, and they let Dennis Kucinich talk twice. I don't know if you know about Cindy Sheehan. She's running for Congress against Nancy Pelosi, who is the Speaker of the House, and she got kicked out. She was made famous for basically her son died in Iraq, unfortunately, and she protested her son's death, and she's been running basically for a government where people actually listen, and it's just unfortunate. But she's running against him, and one of the people that was testifying actually said that he felt that since lies brought us into Iraq, that basically resulted in the death of many troops in Iraq, and therefore it resulted in murder, and that the president should be brought up on charges of murder for all the troops that have died in Iraq. And she said, all right, and she basically was kicked out. She was told never to come back, that nobody could talk. It's just sad. So that basically happened, and they left it as that there was a fact that it was 5 days after this fact they could basically add anything to the record, and I think next week, next Friday, we'll hear more about what's going on with that.
So what was the 35? What was the 35 steps for? Not all 35 of them, but what basis did Kucinich have for the 35?
Okay, a lot of it basically boiled down to the things that were allowed to be talked about, because it basically wasn't really called an impeachment trial because they basically said that they couldn't say the word impeach, and they couldn't basically say that the president lied to people. They basically made all these provisos as these is the only way it's going to go to the Judiciary Council, and Dennis was basically pushing for just to go to the Judiciary Council so it could get on C-SPAN, so it could get some notice, so people would know what was going on. And it's unfortunate that he had to make compromises for that to happen, But they basically talked about the broad-ranging increasing in the presidential powers, and that was basically the main thing that they talked about was, is it illegal for him to be able to declare war? Is it illegal for him to be able to do all these things? Because only Congress is supposed to be able to declare war. So it's just basically all these things that he's gathered, all these powers that he's kind of gathered, and it gets to the point where it's like, if you don't say, hey, that's not right, the next president is going to be able to do the same stuff. So
that this hearing's still going on. I mean, has there been a resolution to whether he should be impeached or you can't use that word? So.
Well, there hasn't really been a resolution. This is basically like a preliminary step towards if they want to actually call in the vice president, the Speaker of the House, all these people that were involved in things like torture and waterboarding and all that stuff. And it's basically like, the Judiciary Council is like, is it really worth the president's time to come and deal with these things, which is just a sad state of affairs to say that you being brought up on impeachment charges isn't worth your time. You should be held accountable to the American people.
Would it have been too late if they would have had the impeachment process, rolling at this point? Would he have been out of office before they could have impeached him?
I think at this point it's not about specifically George W. Bush. It's about the powers that he has amassed and the problems that have come and the lies surrounding a lot of things that have happened in this administration, whether it's going into Iraq or pushing to go into Iran or the blockade with Iran and a lot of things that basically it's time to just stand up and say this isn't okay. And if you don't stand up and say it's not okay, basically the next person for president is going to have all these extra tools in the toolbox, and they hoard them so closely that they're not going to want to give them up. And if you don't say, hey, that's not okay to be doing that stuff, declaring war and lying about 9/11 and these things that have happened, and all these horrible things that have happened during his presidency, then it'll just continue, unfortunately.
Okay, it's me, Tom, again. I totally agree with that last woman's aspect on the autism. She's 100% right. I believe the government is actually causing autism. Not only that, I have a 6-year-old boy that they claim that, he has autism on top of ADHD. Not only that, but they want to turn around and use my son as a guinea pig and try Adderall, Risperdal, and all these different kind of medications. And they called me last week and said to me, sir, we want to try a different medication. And I said, well, what's that? And they told me, and I says to myself, why do you want to use my son as a guinea pig? And they're like, we're not using him as a guinea pig. I said, but you tried 5 different medications and you don't know what the answer is? Why do you want to put drugs in little children so they become totally reliable upon it? I mean, then when you take it away, they're going to have withdrawals. They're going to go psychologically insane. I mean, it makes no sense. This woman was absolutely right what she said. The government is causing problems, and then the government is trying to make up from their mistakes, trying to say, well, this medication will work, that medication will work. Come to find out, the government is full of crap, okay? These so-called psychiatrists, if they were smart, they would turn around and study a child first before they turn around and give them a medication that would not work for the 5th time. It makes no sense to me. But not only that, this woman is right. Everybody should listen to her. I accommodate her. I don't even know her name. What is her name? Kim is very much right. I believe that somebody should actually listen to her, take her thoughts into consideration, and pay attention, and get half these children off of the drugs they're on, and try to take care of them in a parenting way, and not giving them medication. Because if you can't take care of a child not involving drugs, then you don't know what the hell you're doing. You have to take care of a child, stoop down to their level, understand them, they understand you, and if they can act normal in a normal aspect, then there's no need for drugs. Drugs is only an easy way out as far as the state and the government's concerned. It's not my way out. My way out is to take care of that child, give that child love, and turn around and bring that child up to the best that you can ever possibly do. And if anybody disagrees with me, somebody say something. There you go. The point is, children do not need drugs. If you're an adult, you need drugs, that's a situation you got to deal with when you're older. Kids do not need drugs, okay? Anything they have to be relied upon, or they have to definitely look towards in their future. I mean, drugs are the wrong thing for kids. Try to give them fruit, vegetables, decent meals. Talk to the kid, understand the kid. Get down to the child's level. Be a parent, be a mentor. Do what you have to for kids. Don't turn around and resort to drugs. It's wrong, period. That's all I have to say, period. And I 100% go with her opinion because she's 100% right. Kim is right. People should listen to her. Thank you.
This concludes this program broadcast. We the People, a freedom of speech television show. Go to www.wethepeopleofri.org.